This week on the Fan Club podcast.
Today we will be covering the Lin-Manuel Miranda classic, In the Heights. I really love how Lin layered all of the melodies over each other. This song is fine, but it's just blah.
I blame him more than
Vanessa.
Because she wanted to dance with him and he was like, nah, go dance with the other dude.
They both just seem very disrespectful of each other, to be honest with you. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Fan Club podcast. My name is Sarah.
This is Matthew.
And welcome back to June-sical.
Yeah, week 2 of June-sical.
It is episode 60. It is episode 60.
Dang. We are recording this at
super late.
10:44 p.m.
I don't know why we do this to ourselves.
Because this is when we're our funniest.
Today we will be covering the Lin-Manuel Miranda classic, In the Heights.
I wouldn't even call it a classic.
This is Lin-Manuel Miranda's. I always struggle with his name for some reason. It's a tongue twister for me.
Let's just say Lin's.
This is Lin's first musical.
Not that first Broadway musical. Not his first musical
No,
ever.
this is his first musical that he ever wrote. This is the first one that he ever wrote. Also, by the way, go check out our merch.
I think I meant that it was on Broadway than on television.
I actually believe it was off-Broadway.
Same diff.
Whatever. It was the first show that he ever did, even though In the Heights pales in comparison to the success that Hamilton got.
But didn't he do other stuff besides those two? Or did he do more of like songwriting?
I don't think he did because In the Heights was big in the Broadway community and it was a fan favorite, but it was no way, shape, or form as widely popular as Hamilton and didn't win the sweeping awards that Hamilton won.
Yeah, but wasn't In the Heights like early 2000s?
The concept, music, and lyrics were by Lin, and it premiered in 2005.
I was close. I mean, I said 2000s.
It had a 2007 off-Broadway run and then opened on Broadway in 2008. It was nominated for 13 Tony Awards and won 4. So, but in comparison, every award I think that Hamilton was nominated for, it won.
Editing Sarah here. So I just wanted to clarify this point because I didn't elaborate and gave you a little bit of false information. So in its Tony season, Hamilton was nominated for 16 Tony Awards and took home 11. This was probably would have been about 2016, maybe 2015. And it took home 11 Tony Awards, including Best Musical, Best Original Score, Best Direction of a Musical, Best Choreography, Best Leading Actor in a Musical, Best Featured Actress in a Musical, Best Costume Design, and Best Featured Actor, as well as Best Lighting Design, Best Choreography, and Best Orchestrations. Sorry about that little bit of error. I'm not as super well-versed in the Tony world as a musical theater fan probably should be. I am not able to rattle off some of these statistics off the top of my head, so I apologize for having to Google that. But, there you go.
Okay.
In comparison. But to be nominated for a Tony Award, it has to be within
a certain caliber.
It has to be within a certain time frame. And off-Broadway does not qualify. And it has to be within, I think, either the first year of the show, and it can't be, the revivals have its own category.
Okay.
So, like, a show like Phantom of the Opera, which has been on Broadway for an eternity.
Yeah.
It can't win a Tony Award like 20 years after it's been showing, unless it's a revival.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
No, but I mean, awards shows don't make any sense,
But
essentially.
To win a Tony Award is a pretty prestigious deal. And honestly, with the success of Hamilton, I'm not shocked that they made a movie out of In the Heights. I'm honestly kind of shocked it didn't happen before it did. But
I think it was in the works, but it just
because Hamilton was popular in 2015, was its like Tony season.
Okay.
But it was popular then, but it didn't hit like worldwide popularity until the Pro Shot went on Disney Plus.
Yes.
Which was during the pandemic.
Because to be completely honest, I never heard of Hamilton before the Pro Shot.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess also, you don't follow musicals.
No, I do not.
But I mean, don't get me wrong, it was very popular in 2015. I was living in New Jersey in early 2016, and I never was able, my dad and I tried to get lottery tickets for it a million times, and they were either outrageous expensive or impossible to get even nosebleeds.
Yeah.
And, like, it was one of those things that you had to, getting a lottery seat to a super popular Broadway show is crazy hard. If we're talking popularity, when it comes to Lin-Manuel Miranda, the man, I'm going to be completely honest.
Can't sing.
No, that's not even what I was going to say.
Well.
As much as I love and adore him, and I think he's mega talented as far as his songwriting, in 2023, he's a wee bit overwrought. I really love his stuff, but really when you look at In the Heights, Hamilton, Moana, Encanto, like...
I prefer the ones where he just writes the music.
All of his stuff, when you know what to look for, or listen for, rather, it has a very Lin-Manuel Miranda-esque vibe. I don't know how else to put it. I would love to see him do a show and or movie that doesn't have a fast rap in it.
Most musicals have a fast rap, even non-Lin-Man Miranda. Even non-Lin ones have fast songs.
No. I'm, like, specifically Lin's style is very, very particular. And it's kind of, that style has kind of caught on in recent years.
Okay. I mean, there's not a fast rap song in Encanto.
There are verses of We Can't Talk About Bruno, like Dolores' entire thing. There's the reprise of We Can't Talk About Bruno at the end when Bruno comes in and he has that like really, really fast talking part. In the Heights was released in 2021 and directed by John Chu, who also did Crazy Rich Asians.
Didn't he do a Marvel movie?
I
thought we said that. Did he? I thought he did something else that we covered.
He did.
We covered
Step Up to the Streets. He did Now You See Me Too, which is the one with Danny Radcliffe in it.
We didn't cover that.
No, I know.
No?
Oh, he's doing the Wicked movie. He did the 30th anniversary celebration of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Which I did watch.
The one with Josh Groban. Is that the Josh Groban one?
Yes.
Ew.
But it also had this insane electric guitar rendition of Tale as Old as Time at the end, and it was fantastic.
Then who am I thinking of that did a Marvel thing? John...
I think you're thinking of,
Oh, I'm just thinking of Agent Woo. Maybe? I don't know.
I really like John Chu's directorial style. I think he does a lot of really interesting camera things.
Because I remember talking about Crazy Rich Asians. No!
You mentioned it to me in passing.
We were talking about it because of the, Shang-Chi.
Well,
because of Awkwafina's in it.
Yeah. I think we were, because
that might
we were just having a conversation about, we were talking about Aquafina, and then you had brought up how, this was just like a casual conversation in the car one day, that you were talking about, like, Crazy Rich Asians has been on your list of movies to watch.
It is.
It's a fun time. I really like that movie, and I think it's really fun visually, and it has a lot of heart, and I think the cast is really well done, too.
Yes. I can't wait for you to watch Everything Everywhere All at Once.
We're watching that in August, and I'm very excited.
Like,
I'm trying to go in as completely blind as I can.
I'm going to have you watch the trailer, because the trailer explains nothing.
I have been seeing that movie nonstop or like advertisements and people talking about it for months, and I just can't get it out of my head or out of my, like, circle, and I want to see it so bad.
You mean bagel?
What?
That's all I'm saying.
I know it has something to do with hot dogs and bagels. That's all I know. And Jamie Lee Curtis has hot dog hands at one point.
I want to explain a little bit about the hot dog hands. Multiverse.
Yeah, no, I know it has something to do with multiverses.
I am when I explain this movie to you, I use the most vague answers. Where you have no idea what's going to happen.
I would love to go in as completely blind as I possibly can, but it's very hard considering this movie
won so many awards.
This movie has been freaking everywhere.
Like, it won.
I've inadvertently seen a lot of, not spoilery clips, but, like, clips of it out of context.
Like,
clips. You like Lin-Manuel Miranda musicals? Do you like his style? Do you like his?
I mean, I can give or take musicals.
No, I know, but I'm talking specifically Lin's stuff.
If he's not singing, yes.
Yeah, that's the thing.
If he's singing, no.
I have a deep amount of respect for this man, but, like, he needs to stop singing in his own stuff because
he's not a good singer.
But in comparison, especially in Hamilton, when he's stacked up against Anthony Ramos and Christopher Jackson and Leslie Odom Jr. and I cannot pronounce the guy's name, but the guy who plays Madison, yes. and Daveed Diggs, like, when he's, and all the women too, when he's stacked against all of those people, he's not that, he's fun, but he's not talented in comparison.
Yeah. Like, he's decent, but he's not good.
And he originated the role of Usnavi in this movie and in The Heights.
On Off-Broadway.
Well, I mean, he wrote the thing. But I'm like, I just don't understand why he needed to insert himself. Like, I'm fine with him, making a little cameo as the Piragua guy. Sorry, if I pronounce anything wrong.
Oh, you're going to, because you're white.
If it's not obvious, we are white. And so, obvious...
He's a snow cone person.
Yeah, I mean...
Just say that.
There is a fair amount of culture in this movie that just we won't get or understand or just...
I mean, I understand it. I just can't pronounce it.
No, I get that. But, like, this movie is steeped in a lot of Hispanic culture that is just... we will never understand. We open the movie with Usnavi, played by Anthony Ramos, who was Lawrence and Philip in Hamilton, and he's telling this group of kids the story of his life. And it opens on this song that I think that the editing and sound design is amazing. They add in percussion of, like, the power washer and of the gate closing, and, like, I don't know, I think it's great.
Yeah.
These songs have so much Lin-Manuel Miranda stamped on them.
Yeah.
This movie is a slice of life movie. So basically what I mean by that is
just the average day.
Yes, it has significant moments. I mean, Sonny's story, Nina's story, they're significant moments in their life, but they're, for the most part, these are just people living their lives. So then we introduce all the characters. So we meet Benny, we meet Nina, we meet Vanessa, played by Melissa Barrera, who is Sam.
She's the first that we've covered in multiple episodes now, in different franchises.
Well, Molly Weasley and Stellan Skarsgård.
True. Third. third that we've covered in multiple fandoms. I mean, 2 vastly different fandoms.
Yeah.
Anyone in next week's episode that we've covered in something else?
Greatest Showman. I don't think so. I mean, technically, Wolverine is Marvel now, but we haven't covered it.
I still wish we could cover Deadpool.
Yeah. So the whole reason that we're doing June-sical is because originally we were supposed to do Deadpool and the new Spider-Verse movie. Well, all the Spider-Verse. We want to cover Spider-Verse eventually, but...
Spider-Verse is just a good movie. Like, it's a great movie.
Since watching all of the Marvels, I've seen enough about Spider-Verse, and I think
because
Spider-Man is one of my favorite characters out of all.
Because it's non-MCU.
Also, our son is like obsessed with the Spidey show.
Was there something wrong with that?
So I've watched a fair amount of that, and I'm like relatively like somewhat well versed in who Miles Morales is. I mean,
Do you know why Miles Morales exists?
It's a very kidified version of...
Yeah, but do you know why Miles Morales exists?
Absolutely not.
So, there's an episode in Community where Donald Glover is dressed up in a Spider-Man onesie.
Isn't he
or Spider-Man PJs.
Isn't he in one of the Tom Hollands?
He's in the first Tom Holland. He's in the first one, buying the weapons from Shocker, which... They butcher Shocker in that movie, by the way. Which, don't even get me started on that. If you want to hear me complain about that, go back to our Spider-Man episode. Our first Spider-Man episode. But, he's the reason why Miles Morales exists.
By the way, we haven't seen Ant-Man or Guardians 3 yet. Ant-Man just got on Disney+. We've been meaning to get around to it, but life has been kind of insane.
So, in the next probably couple weeks,
we'll have a bonus episode.
Yeah, we'll have 2 episodes come out on a Monday. We just have to have
Or
time.
like a Monday and a Wednesday or something like that.
We'll figure it out. It'll be a special upload that we're not going to tell you guys until it's uploaded.
We really want to like swing back around and cover more recent Marvel stuff.
It's just...
Getting to a movie theater is really hard for us, so we have to...
And expensive.
Yeah, so we have to wait until they get on Disney+.
Which isn't our favorite.
But we will cover them, don't you worry. I can't promise the same about She-Hulk and Miss Marvel.
We'll get to those eventually. We may do like an episode here or an episode there of those. It's just... It's harder to record 9 or watch 9 episodes and record 3 for one show.
We only have so much hours in the day and so much energy in the day.
So if we cover those, it will be like 1 episode this month, then maybe the next episode in 3 weeks from that, or whatever. But eventually.
Yeah. So anyway, the lawyer guy, which I think his name is Pike. They call him, like, multiple names in this movie, so
we're just gonna call him Lawyer Dude.
Yeah. Lawyer Dude shows Usnavi pics of Usnavi's dad's bar back in the Dominican. And it, like, got flattened by a hurricane.
Yeah.
And then we learned that Nina is back from college. Mm-hmm. And she's, like, really struggling with, like, the fact that, like, everybody on her block is, like, so proud of her, and she's, like, really struggling with, like, the imposter syndrome and, like, not knowing where she's going in life, which I think is very real for a person of that age, I think.
Yeah.
Even more so for her in that position, where not a lot of people in her position have a chance to go to college, period.
Yeah.
And I think to not want to disappoint your community is such a real feeling, I think.
Yeah.
And then we get Usnavi's name origin.
U.S. Navy.
So his dad, when his dad immigrated, he said, I'm going to name my son after the name on the boat. And it was a U.S. Navy ship. So his name is Usnavi.
Yeah. Lynn, could you not come up with a better reason?
I don't think that that's an uncommon thing for an immigrant, though.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I imagine, I mean, this is me speculating, I have no proof of this, but that Usnavi's dad maybe didn't know a lot of English.
Yeah.
And so that was the first thing that he saw and didn't realize it wasn't a name.
Yeah.
So then we go to the salon and we meet Daniela, Carla, and Kuka, I think is her name. And this salon scene is so freaking hectic. Like, they're, like, gossiping and they're, you know, being girls. And there's this song called No Me Diga, which is just, like, a bunch of girls just having fun. And they're, you know, fixing Nina up. And I really love how the percussion comes in again with, like, the acrylic nails on the table. You hate the mannequins.
Yeah.
Matthew has this, like, very deep-seated fear of, like, dolls.
It's not all dolls. It's just the old porcelain style.
And there's these shots of, like, so there's this shelf of a bunch of mannequin heads with wigs on them, and they, like, move on their own.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And then Vanessa, played by Melissa Barrera, goes to her apartment, which is right on the elevated train, and she sings about how the elevated train doesn't bug her anymore. I'm sorry, the train, like, rattles your entire apartment. How does that not bug you?
You get used to it after a while.
Oh, that would drive me insane. And then she's, like, quickly getting dressed to go to try to put a down payment on a new, not down payment, but, like, a new...
To
rent a new apartment. And they need to run a credit check, and she doesn't have the funds. And they ask for 40 times her rent.
Well, it's New York. What do you expect?
I fully get that, but, like, I don't understand how even being a nail tech is paying for her current apartment. Like,
yeah.
I get that it's, you know, maybe a cheaper neighborhood and it's right on the elevated train, but, like, for New York, that apartment is, like, nice.
Yeah.
Like, 40 I thought I heard the girl wrong at first. I thought she said 4, or, like, our subtitles were wrong, but I'm pretty sure she said 40.
Yeah, I think so too.
Which is craziness.
Yeah, but it is New York, so...
Love this. So, Vanessa goes back to the bodega that Usnavi owns, and, because Daniela, the salon owner, wanted her to bring back a soda, and so she goes to the bodega, and Usnavi is just, like, being a doofus in the freezer window.
I mean, that's his normal personality also, is just a doofus.
And then we get probably the best song in the movie, which is 96,000. They learn that Usnavi's bodega was the one that sold the winning lottery ticket, but they don't know yet who won.
Yeah.
They just know that they sold the ticket. And so all the guys are going down to the pool where they're having a big party. And they're singing about, like, everybody's singing about what they would do with the 96,000. And it's such a freaking catchy song. They do all this choreography in the pool. And I really love how Lynn layered all of the melodies over each other.
Yes.
Because most of the characters get their own verses. And once everybody has sung their own verses, then you get them, like, layered on top of each other.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really fun. And I think he does that in Hamilton at one point, too, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
yeah.
A lot of the characters have, like, their own motifs and stuff.
At the Act 1 song. Or the end of Act 1 song.
Nonstop. Is it the Why Are You Writing Like You're Running Out of Time? Is it that song?
I mean, that's in it.
Yeah. Pretty sure it's Nonstop is the one that is the Act 1.
Yeah.
We learn that Nina and Benny used to date. Listen, I like these characters individually.
They're not fun together.
I think they're kind of boring together. I don't know if it's a actor chemistry thing. I don't have any frame of reference because I haven't seen the stage show. I've seen clips of it, but or I don't know if it's like a writing thing, like we don't get enough time with the two of them together, or like I really don't know what it is, but there's just like something about it that I just can't care about.
Probably all three.
I think this movie, and honestly a lot of Lynn shows have a romance problem. I think Hamilton's probably the one that does it the best, arguably. I think that In the Heights and Hamilton, a lot of their romance, like, I think it was really contingent on the chemistry.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't think Vanessa and Usnavi have a lot of chemistry either. They have isolated moments.
Yeah.
I think the champagne scene at the end, they have some chemistry. But other than that, there's something about it that I can't put my finger on that just, like, doesn't feel quite natural to me. And the song is fine, but it's, like, it's just, like, blah.
I get that.
Sorry, that's not very descriptive.
No, I get it. I mean, I really don't like any of these people. They're not,
like, dynamic enough.
they're not interesting.
Like, I like the salon ladies and I like Usnavi. But, like, other than that, there's not enough about them. Yeah, you want to root for Nina and you want to root for Sunny for their isolated, like, character arcs. But, like, there's a piece missing.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't know if it's an acting thing or a movie structure thing or it's a writing thing. I don't know.
Probably all the above.
And then we go to a scene between Usnavi and Sunny's dad. Sunny's dad sucks.
Yeah.
He's an alcoholic, and he just doesn't seem to care about his son that much.
No, he doesn't.
And that's just really sad. I don't know if it's outright said here, but it's kind of implied and inferred that Sunny and his dad are undocumented.
I mean, essentially that's what he's saying.
He's basically like, how do you pay him? And Usnavi says in cash. And then the scene kind of...
He's like, you've never wondered why?
The scene kind of ends after that, though.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, Sunny's dad, he gets this one scene, which is fine. You paint enough of a picture for me to not like him. I don't know how this guy's making rent, to be honest with you. Like, Sunny cannot make that much off of working as a bodega employee, as, like, a 15, 16-year-old.
Yeah.
To pay rent. And, like, I don't think his dad really does anything. So then we go to family dinner. And I love all the shots of the food. I am a huge foodie, so I'm always, like, I love when movies, like, I wish they told us what they were eating, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The food all looked, like, so delicious, though. Uh-huh. And I just imagine that Abuela Claudia, like, just, like, slaved over that meal all day. And one of the salon ladies, like, spills something on her sleeve, and Usnavi whips out the Tide pen that Vanessa used on him earlier.
Yes. And
so the Tide, like, I'm like, is Tide, like, paying them money? Dinner is super tense. Because Benny just, like, comes right out and says, like, because Benny overhears earlier that Nina's dad, who he works for, is selling the taxi business in order to pay for Nina's school. Benny just, like, comes out and says that. I don't know why he doesn't ask about it in private, but whatever. And then Nina, like, basically says that she doesn't want to go back to school because she doesn't have a community there, and it's like she feels like she's in a dead end, and her dad wants her to
just have a better life than he had.
Yeah, which I think is a great thing to want. It's a great thing to want, but I also think sometimes academics are not for everybody. I do think that Nina kind of sucked in this scene in the sense that, like, her dad has worked his butt off to pay for her school.
And she's just going to throw it away because it's too hard.
It's not even that it's too hard for her.
Because she
doesn't have a community. She feels isolated. And more than likely, she's probably the only non-white kid. I mean, she even says it. Then all of the young folk go to the club. And this scene, both Vanessa and Usnavi suck.
All the scenes that they have sucks.
I just think they're, like, very disrespectful towards each other. And I think it comes off that way, but I think realistically they're just, like, missing each other. They're, like, sending each other mixed signals, which I do think is realistic. I think that's a thing that happens in relationships.
I mean...
Not just romantic ones either.
Yeah. I mean... They went out on a date. I blame Gustav. I blame him more than Vanessa. Because she wanted to dance with him, and he was like, nah, go dance with the other dude.
Yeah, and she felt like he wasn't interested in her.
He's the one that blew her off. It wasn't the other way around.
And she's basically like, well, I'm going to go have fun.
Yeah. Because he was just moping around drinking at the bar.
Yeah.
So, that's all on him, not her. She tried, and he was like, nah, you go dance with him. And then when she tried to get him, he was like, no, let me go drink first, and then I'll be back.
But it's also painfully obvious that Usnavi is into her.
Yeah.
And
but not in that instance.
She seems clueless. But he's been into her. He's been clearly into her for a long time. She doesn't seem like either A, that she cares, or B, that she really likes him back. I mean, she does eventually, but it's like they both just seem very disrespectful of each other, to be honest with you. So then there's this great dance number, and I don't know, I really love all the partner work and all that. It kind of reminded me, you said it reminded you of Grease.
Of, like, the
dance scene.
Yeah.
I thought it reminded me of West Side Story a little bit, because in West Side Story, there's this whole scene where Tony and Maria meet at the dance, and they, the Jets and the Sharks have their dance battle. And the choreography reminded me a lot of that, because there's a lot of partner work and stuff. So then there's a blackout, and during this blackout, Abuela Claudia dies.
Yeah.
And she then has this song called Pasenza y Fe. Sorry, I said that wrong. Listen.
We skipped it.
We like Abuela Claudia in the sense of, like, what she means to the other characters. But I realistically don't think there's enough time for me as a viewer to care.
Yeah.
I understand she's, like, the matriarch of this community, and, like, I get that holds weight. But there's just something about this. I also think that this song being, like, kind of at the start of where the movie starts to drag a little bit, I think is...
It's just a bathroom song.
It really... And it's very long. Visually, it's pretty. I've seen this song isolated from the movie before. And it's a very pretty song. But... and I like the visual of her, like, walking up the subway stairs and into, like, the bright light, and she's, like, quote-unquote walking to heaven. And visually, I like it. But the song itself, I'm just, like, about.
Yeah.
And I do think the scene right after, where everybody's grieving in the candlelight vigil, and, I think the acting is stellar.
Yes.
But, especially from Anthony Ramos, but the actual death just kind of, like, doesn't have the same punch. So then Nina and Sonny go to a protest, or to a rally, I should say, and she learns that he and his dad are undocumented.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of her spark to go back to school so she can help him. And she goes home and tells her dad right away that she wants to help kids get documented. And what I actually really appreciate about this storyline is that it's not like an immediate, like, oh, he has a green card now. Like, I kind of appreciate that, like, they make it explicitly clear that it's like, it takes time.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect system.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really realistic, and I really liked that. Throughout this entire movie, Daniela is moving the salon, and there's this whole, like, theme of, like, gentrification, and the block is changing and all that stuff. And they're looking for all the people because everybody's gone. And I find it funny that their hottest day of the summer is 106.
That's normal for us.
I still think that that's really hot. But I also don't handle heat well.
Yeah.
90 is hot for me.
Yeah.
Anything above 70 is hot for me, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
And then they find them in the back, in the alley, and they have this song, I believe it's called Carnaval de Barrio, but it has, like, a bunch of different sections of the song, if that makes sense. And they're basically, the whole song is basically just them, like, embracing all of their cultures, and it's a Latino community, and there's, you know, Dominicans, there's Puerto Ricans, there's Mexicans, there's a bunch of different types of people, and they're proud of where they come from, and, you know, there's a lot of Spanish in this song, and I don't know, I think the song is catchy, and it's beautiful, and I think the dancing is really good.
Yeah.
Lynn comes out on a balcony and raps in Spanish.
Yeah.
And then we flash to a month later, and Nina is leaving for college, and her and Benny dance on the side of the building.
Yeah.
I don't really have much to say about this scene other than the fact that it's visually cool.
Yeah.
And they used the crap out of this scene in promos.
Yeah, they did.
Is moving to the Dominican, because that's his sueñito, his little dream.
Yeah.
And so as he's moving out, he finds this little box full of little trinkets from Abuela and finds the lotto ticket. My question is, she wrote for Usnavi on it. Was this prior to when she knew that she won? Or was that just in case?
She was probably buying them for him. More than likely, it was before that she knew she was going to die.
Well, because her heart failed. So maybe because there's a thing at the beginning where, like, she's not taking her medication.
Yeah.
So this is my conspiracy theory. Did she, like, just not take her medication on purpose?
No, it's probably more along the lines of she just got to the age where she just wanted to...
She just wanted to be free.
Yeah.
That's really sad, actually. It's very realistic, but it's sad.
Yeah.
So Vanessa then shows up to say goodbye. And I find this, like, very weird because, okay, they have this conflict. And then she just, like, comes by and it's, like, suddenly fine. And, like, I get that the conflict itself wasn't that deep in the grand scheme of life. But, like, we're talking movie world here. So she just comes by and she brings back this whole motif at the very beginning of the movie where she's like, I owe you a bottle of cold champagne, which is a really random thing to owe somebody.
Yeah.
And so they share a glass of or a bottle of champagne, and she wants him to stay, which I'm like, girl. He decides that he's going to use the lotto money to get Sunny documented. I think this is very, like I said, I think this whole thing is very realistic. I don't know what kind of hoops he would have to jump through to, like, be able to pay Sunny's legal fees, because he's not his guardian.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure how that would even work.
I mean, they are related. So...
Yeah.
And I really... Again, I don't know really much about the characterization of the dad, but I imagine that the dad probably wouldn't be too mad about giving up his parental rights.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad to say, but, like, it's the truth.
Yeah, the dad probably doesn't really care.
Or, unfortunately, in that situation, a lot of the times they will just dip, or they will, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
So then Vanessa takes a walk, and she runs into Graffiti Pete, who is a very small character. I think he's bigger in the show.
Probably.
I'm 90% sure he might even get his own song. I'm not entirely sure. But she runs into him, and he's, like, painting something on a wall, and she picks up one of his rags and is like, hey, can I have this? And she's a fashion designer, if I didn't say that. Her song really isn't that interesting, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And when you compare Vanessa's storyline to Nina's and Sunny's, her story just becomes less compelling.
Yeah.
So she basically gets this spark of inspiration. And I'm like, okay, so what are you going to do with it? I know you made these beautiful outfits, but are you, like, trying to get into college? Are you trying, like, what are you doing with it?
Yeah, I don't know what her entire premise is.
Because you see her earlier in the movie where she goes to, like, a fashion school and, like, digs through their dumpsters for, like, scrap fabric.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's kind of implied that she, like, wants to go there a little bit. Maybe I'm reading too far into that.
Which would explain why...
But they don't ever explicitly say that.
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure.
I don't know if this is a movie issue.
I don't know. Maybe.
My bigger problem with that is how they're trying to make Vanessa's storyline hold just as much water as Sunny and Nina's. And it just doesn't.
No, it does not.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have dreams, but those problems are, like, real life-changing problems. And, like, yeah, there is a little bit of what I think is really compelling is that Vanessa doesn't want to be stuck in the same neighborhood forever. But then you see her at the end of the movie in the flash forward, and she's still stuck in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm confused where her motivation is.
Maybe she
realized that her dream was Usnavi. I don't know. It's her character is just like there's just something missing. So then Usnavi then figures out that Washington Heights is his sueñito, and Sunny and Graffiti Pete and Vanessa paint this beautiful mural, and Sunny does the crab.
Yeah.
And you figure out that this whole story he's been telling is to his daughter, and it's not, in fact, on the beach, but it's in front of this mural of the beach, and he's been inside the bodega this whole time. Which is a pretty good framing device, honestly.
Yeah.
And then the movie ends with the kind of a reprise of the first song, and they're playing in all of the hydrants, and you learn that Vanessa and Usnavi have a little girl, and so it's been quite a few years, because she looked like she was, like, 9. Yeah, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I mean, In the Heights is not my favorite.
I think it's a fun time.
Yeah.
I didn't realize just how many, like, character plot holes there are, though, until you really go in and analyze it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song number or musical number?
Probably just 96,000.
So next week we will be covering The Greatest Showman.
Yes.
And go make sure you check out our merch. We have an exclusive design this month for June-sical, and sorry it's really late.
Yeah.
Do you have anything left to say?
Oh, check out my Instagram. I'm about to have a smoked meatloaf episode go up.
And we will talk about Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron and Zendaya and
Michelle Williams.
And
is it Michelle Williams?
Yes. Were you thinking of Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's not Michelle Pfeiffer.
No, I couldn't remember if her last name was Williams or not.
Yes, she also was Glinda in The Oz Great and Powerful.
Yes.
As well as Marilyn Monroe.
Yes.
So, yeah, I really love the music in Greatest Showman, so I'm excited.
I like the music too, especially the reprises. Or not reprises, the
remixes. So, yeah, we'll see you guys next week, and thanks for being patient with us, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
If you would like to support this podcast, please consider checking out our merch store at thefanclubpodcast.myspreadshirt.com. You can get exclusive designs designed by us on t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers, and many other items. Be sure to follow us on all of our social medias for updates on what we're working on in real time. We're part of the Needlessly Nerdy Entertainment Network. They're a conglomerate of podcasts and blogs that provide entertainment, news, and reviews about all things nerdy, including movies, TV, books, video games, tabletop games, cons, pop culture, and more. Go check out all of the amazing shows on the network at needlesslynerdy.com.
Needlessly Nerdy, your source for all things nerdy.
www.needlesslynerdy.com.